Stop everything and check your pocket right now. This one dime coin could be worth thousands of dollars. The most valuable dime in U.S. history is the 1894 S. Barber dime. Only 24 were ever minted, and today fewer than 10 are known to exist. This tiny silver dime was made in San Francisco and looks ordinary at first glance, but collectors consider it a holy grail coin. If you ever see an 1894 dime with a small S mint mark on the back, you could be holding a fortune. In top condition, this dime has sold at auction for over $2 million. Even worn examples are worth an unbelievable amount. Other valuable dimes to watch for include the 1916 D Mercury dime, the 1942/41 Mercury dime, and any dime struck in 90% silver before 1965. So before you spend that dime, take a closer look. One small coin could completely change your life. Coin number 1. Stop what you're doing for a moment and take a close look at the change in your pocket, because a simple 10-cent coin from the United States, the 1977 one dime, might be far more interesting than most people realize. The 1977 Roosevelt dime is one of those everyday coins that millions of Americans handled without ever thinking twice about its history, composition, or hidden collectible value. Yet today, this small coin continues to attract collectors, error hunters, and curious coin enthusiasts around the world. The United States one dime from 1977 features the portrait of President Franklin D. Roosevelt on the obverse. Roosevelt was chosen for the dime shortly after his death in 1945 because of his strong association with the March of Dimes, a campaign that helped fight polio, a disease he personally battled. His image has remained on the dime ever since, making the Roosevelt dime one of the longest-running coin designs in U.S. history. On the front of the 1977 dime, you'll notice Roosevelt facing left, with the word Liberty clearly inscribed along the left side of the coin. Just to the right of Roosevelt's neck is the phrase, "In God We Trust," a standard motto on United States coinage. Below the portrait appears the date, 1977, which places this coin firmly in the modern-clad era of U.S. coins. Unlike older dimes minted before 1965, the 1977 Roosevelt dime contains no silver. Instead, it is made of a copper-nickel-clad composition, consisting of an outer layer of 75% copper and 25% nickel bonded to a pure copper core. This change was introduced in 1965 as silver prices rose and the U.S. Mint needed a more affordable metal combination for circulating coins. The reverse of the 1977 dime is simple but symbolic. It features a torch in the center, representing liberty, flanked by an olive branch symbolizing peace and an oak branch representing strength and independence. Around the edge of the reverse are the words, United States of America, and one dime. This design, created by engraver John R. Sinek, has remained unchanged for decades and is instantly recognizable. In 1977, the United States Mint produced dimes at 3 different facilities. The Philadelphia Mint struck coins with no mint mark, the Denver Mint produced coins marked with a small d, and the San Francisco Mint struck proof versions marked with an S. Each of these versions has its own place in the coin collecting world. The 1977 Philadelphia dime had an enormous mintage, with hundreds of millions of coins produced for circulation. Because of this high mintage, most 1977 no-mint mark dimes are still only worth their face value of 10 cents today, especially if they show signs of heavy wear. However, coins in uncirculated condition can carry a modest premium, particularly if they exhibit strong luster and sharp details. The 1977 D dime from the Denver Mint also saw a massive production run. Like the Philadelphia version, most circulated examples are worth only face value. Still, collectors seek out high-grade examples, especially those graded MS65 or higher, where the coin shows minimal contact marks and excellent eye appeal. One of the most desirable versions of the 1977 dime is the proof coin struck at the San Francisco Mint. These proof dimes were not intended for circulation. Instead, they were made using specially prepared dies and polished planchets, resulting in mirror-like fields and frosted details. Proof 1977s dimes are commonly found in original proof sets, and their value depends heavily on condition and whether they have been well preserved. While the 1977 Roosevelt dime is common, what truly excites collectors are mint errors and unusual varieties. Error coins can dramatically increase the value of an otherwise ordinary dime. Off-center strikes, clipped planchets, double strikes, and missing clad layers are just some of the errors collectors look for. A 1977 dime with a clear and dramatic mint error can sell for many times its face value, sometimes reaching tens or even hundreds of dollars depending on the rarity and severity of the error. Another area of interest is double die errors. These occur when the coin die receives a misaligned impression during the hubbing process, resulting in doubled lettering or numbers. A genuine double die on a 1977 dime, especially one visible on the date or inscriptions, can be highly collectible. However, true double dies are rare, and collectors must be cautious not to confuse them with machine doubling, which does not add significant value. Condition plays a crucial role in determining the value of a 1977 one dime. Coins are graded on a scale ranging from poor to mint state. Circulated dimes with worn details are extremely common, but uncirculated examples with full torch bands on the reverse are much more desirable. Full torch bands indicate that the horizontal bands on the torch are sharply defined and uninterrupted, a sign of a strong strike and minimal wear. For new collectors, the 1977 dime is an excellent entry point into U.S. coin collecting. It is affordable, widely available, and offers opportunities to learn about grading, mint marks, and errors. Searching through rolls of dimes from banks can be an exciting way to find high-grade examples or even rare errors without spending a lot of money. The historical context of 1977 also adds interest to this coin. The United States was experiencing economic challenges during the late 1970s, including inflation and changes in monetary policy. While the dime itself did not change design during this period, it circulated through a fascinating era of American history, passing through countless hands during everyday transactions. Many people wonder whether saving modern coins like the 1977 dime is worth it. While most examples will never be worth a fortune, certain high-grade coins, proofs, and error varieties can appreciate over time. Collecting is not just about profit. It's also about preserving pieces of history and enjoying the thrill of discovery. If you have a 1977 dime, examine it closely under good lighting. Look for unusual marks, doubling, off-center strikes, or missing details. Check the mint mark carefully. Even small differences can make a big impact in the world of coin collecting. In conclusion, the 1977 United States one dime may seem ordinary at first glance, but it carries a rich story of American history, minting technology, and collector interest. Whether you are a seasoned numismatist or just someone curious about the coins in your pocket, the 1977 Roosevelt dime is a reminder that even the smallest denominations can hold big stories. So the next time you see a dime dated 1977, don't spend it too quickly, it just might be worth a second look. Coin number 2. Stop for a moment and take a closer look at the change in your pocket, because even an ordinary-looking dime from the United States could have a story worth telling. Today, we're diving deep into the 1973 one-dime coin from the United States, a piece of American currency that many people overlook, yet millions of collectors continue to study, search for, and sometimes pay a premium for. The 1973 Roosevelt dime may seem common at first glance, but once you understand its history, varieties, mint marks, metal composition, and collector value, you'll never look at a dime the same way again. The one-dime coin issued in 1973 is part of the long-running Roosevelt dime series, which began in 1946. This series was introduced to honor President Franklin D. Roosevelt, whose leadership during the Great Depression and World War II left a lasting mark on American history. Roosevelt also played a major role in founding the March of Dimes, making his appearance on the 10-cent coin especially meaningful. By 1973, the Roosevelt dime had already become a familiar part of everyday life in the United States, circulating widely and being used daily in stores, vending machines, and public transportation. In 1973, the United States Mint produced dimes at multiple mint facilities. These included the Philadelphia Mint, the Denver Mint, and the San Francisco Mint. Each mint produced coins with slight differences that collectors pay close attention to. Philadelphia minted dimes from 1973 carry no mint mark, which is common for coins struck in Philadelphia during that era. Denver minted dimes feature a small D mint mark, while San Francisco produced proof versions marked with an S. These mint marks play a significant role in determining the value and collectability of a 1973 dime. The composition of the 1973 one-dime coin is also important. Unlike older dimes made of silver, the 1973 dime is a clad coin. It consists of an outer layer of copper-nickel bonded to a pure copper core. This composition was introduced in 1965, when the United States removed silver from circulating dimes due to rising silver prices. As a result, the 1973 Roosevelt dime does not contain silver, but that doesn't mean it lacks value or interest. Many collectors focus on condition, rarity, and errors rather than metal content alone. When it comes to design, the obverse of the 1973 dime features a left-facing portrait of Franklin D. Roosevelt. The word Liberty appears along the left edge, while the motto, "In God We Trust," is placed near Roosevelt's neck. The date 1973 is clearly visible on the right side of the coin. The reverse side showcases a torch in the center, symbolizing liberty, flanked by an olive branch representing peace and an oak branch representing strength and independence. Around the edges, you'll find the words, United States of America, and one dime. Millions of 1973 dimes were produced, making them relatively common in circulation. However, collectors know that mintage numbers alone don't tell the full story. Condition is one of the most critical factors in determining a coin's value. A circulated 1973 dime that shows wear, scratches, or discoloration is usually worth face value. But a well-preserved example, especially one in uncirculated condition, can be worth significantly more to collectors. Uncirculated 1973 Roosevelt dimes are coins that never entered circulation and show no signs of wear. These coins often retain their original mint luster, sharp details, and clean surfaces. Coins graded by professional grading services in higher mint state grades are especially desirable. While many uncirculated examples exist, truly high-quality pieces are far less common, especially after decades of handling, storage, and environmental exposure. Proof coins are another important category when discussing the 1973 dime. Proof dimes were struck at the San Francisco Mint using specially prepared dies and polished planchets. These coins were not intended for circulation and were sold directly to collectors. Proof 1973 dimes typically feature mirror-like fields and frosted design details. Because they were carefully produced and preserved, proof coins often command higher prices than regular circulation strikes, especially when kept in original condition. One of the most exciting aspects of collecting the 1973 one-dime coin is searching for errors and varieties. Mint errors can significantly increase a coin's value, even for modern coins like the Roosevelt dime. Errors such as off-center strikes, double dies, clipped planchets, and wrong planchet errors are all possibilities collectors look for. A double die, for example, can cause noticeable doubling in the date, lettering, or design elements, making the coin much more valuable than a standard example. Another detail collectors examine closely is strike quality. Some 1973 dimes were struck more sharply than others, depending on die condition and minting pressure. Strongly struck coins with full torch details on the reverse are especially appealing. The torch bands, in particular, are an area collectors inspect carefully. Well-defined horizontal bands across the torch can increase desirability, especially among advanced Roosevelt dime collectors. The value of a 1973 dime varies widely depending on mint mark, condition, and whether it has any special features. A circulated 1973 dime is usually worth 10 cents. An uncirculated example can be worth several times face value, while proof coins generally sell for more than circulation strikes. Error coins and high-grade examples can sell for much higher prices, sometimes reaching impressive amounts when demand is strong. Collectors in the United States and around the world continue to build complete Roosevelt dime collections, and the 1973 issue plays an important role in completing date and mint mark sets. Even though it is not rare, It represents an important era in U.S. coinage history. The early 1970s were a time of economic change, inflation, and evolving mint technology, all of which influenced how coins were produced and used. For new collectors, the 1973 one-dime coin is an excellent entry point into coin collecting. It's affordable, easy to find, and rich in history. Searching through rolls of dimes, inherited collections, or old jars of change can be both educational and exciting. Many collectors started their journey by discovering a simple coin like this and learning that every coin has a story. If you're holding a 1973 dime and wondering whether it's worth keeping, start by examining it closely. Look for the mint mark, check the condition, and watch for anything unusual. Even small details can make a big difference. Using a magnifying glass or coin loupe can help you spot features that aren't visible to the naked eye. Storing your coins properly is also essential if you want to preserve their value. Avoid cleaning your coins, as cleaning can damage the surface and reduce collector interest. Instead, store them in protective holders, coin flips, or albums designed for coin preservation. Keeping coins away from moisture, extreme temperatures, and direct handling will help maintain their condition over time. The 1973 Roosevelt dime may not grab headlines like rare gold coins or early silver issues, but it represents the everyday money that powered American life. From grocery stores to gas stations, from school cafeterias to vending machines, dimes like this were used millions of times a day. Each coin are gaining renewed attention. Collectors appreciate the craftsmanship, history, and subtle differences that make each coin unique. Coin number 3. Stop for a moment and take a close look at the coins in your pocket, because even a small coin like a dime could be hiding an interesting story. Today we're talking about the 1989 P1 dime coin from the United States, also known as the 1989 Philadelphia Roosevelt dime. This coin may look common at first glance, but its history, design, errors, and collector demand make it worth understanding, especially for coin collectors, beginners, and anyone curious about U.S. coins. The Roosevelt dime is one of the most recognizable coins in American history. Introduced in 1946, it was created to honor President Franklin D. Roosevelt, who led the United States through the Great Depression and World War II. Roosevelt was also closely associated with the March of Dimes campaign, which helped fight polio, a disease he personally battled. Because of this connection, placing Roosevelt on the dime was seen as a meaningful tribute. The 1989 P dime was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, which is indicated by the P mint mark found on the obverse side of the coin. Philadelphia did not use mint marks on dimes for many years, but starting in 1980, the P mint mark began appearing, making it easy for collectors to identify coins from this mint. The Philadelphia Mint is the oldest mint in the United States and has produced billions of coins for everyday circulation. In 1989, the United States Mint produced an enormous number of Roosevelt dimes to meet circulation demand. The Philadelphia Mint alone struck over 1 billion dimes that year. Because of this high mintage, the 1989 P dime is considered a common coin, but common does not mean unimportant. Many collectors build complete date and mint mark sets, and the 1989 P dime plays a key role in modern Roosevelt dime collections. Let's talk about the design of the 1989 P dime. On the obverse, you'll see a left-facing portrait of Franklin D. Roosevelt. This design was created by Chief Engraver John R. Sinek. Along the left side of the coin is the word Liberty, while the phrase "In God We Trust" appears near Roosevelt's neck. The date, 1989, is placed on the right side, just below the mint mark P. The reverse of the dime features a torch in the center, symbolizing liberty. The torch is flanked by an olive branch on one side, representing peace, and an oak branch on the other, representing strength and independence. Above the torch are the words, United States of America, and below it is the denomination, 1 dime. The motto E pluribus unum, meaning out of many one, is also present on the reverse. The 1989 P dime is composed of a copper-nickel clad structure. This means it has an outer layer of copper and nickel bonded to a pure copper core. The total weight of the coin is approximately 2.27 grams, and it has a diameter of about 17.9 millimeters. Like all modern Roosevelt dimes, it has a reeded edge with closely spaced grooves around the rim. One important thing collectors often ask is whether a 1989p dime contains silver. The answer is no. US dimes were made of 90% silver until 1964. Starting in 1965, the mint switched to a copper-nickel composition. So while the 1989 dime does not have silver value, it still holds collectible value depending on condition and rarity factors. Condition is extremely important when evaluating the value of a 1989p dime. Most examples found in circulation today are heavily worn and typically worth only face value. However, coins in uncirculated condition, especially those with strong luster and sharp details, can be worth more to collectors. Coins graded mint state by professional grading services can command higher prices, particularly at higher grades. Another category that interests collectors is proof coins. The Philadelphia Mint does not produce proof coins. Proofs are usually made at the San Francisco Mint. Therefore, there is number 1989p proof dime. However, collectors sometimes confuse highly polished business strike coins with proofs, so it's important to know the difference. Proof coins have mirror-like fields and frosted devices, while regular circulation coins do not. Now let's talk about errors and varieties, which are often the most exciting part of modern coin collecting. While the 1989p dime is common, certain error coins can be worth significantly more than face value. These errors occur during the minting process and can include off-center strikes, clipped planchets, broad strikes, and double strikes. One popular error to look for on the 1989p dime is a misaligned die, where the design is not properly centered. Another valuable error is a double die, where parts of the design appear doubled due to a misalignment during the die creation process. Doubling is most commonly seen on the date, mint mark, or lettering such as Liberty or In God We Trust. Clipped planchet errors are another possibility. These occur when a piece of the metal strip is improperly cut before striking, leaving a curved or straight clip missing from the coin. If you find a 1989p dime with a visible clip and no signs of damage, it could be an authentic mint error. Broad strike errors happen when the coin is struck outside of the retaining collar, causing it to spread out and appear wider than normal with a missing or distorted edge. These errors are easily noticeable and often attract collector interest. Collectors also search for die cracks and die chips on the 1989p dime. These appear as raised lines or blobs of metal on the surface of the coin and are caused by damage or wear to the die itself. While minor die cracks may not be worth much, dramatic examples can add value and appeal. So how much is a 1989p dime worth today? In average circulated condition, it is usually worth only 10 cents. In uncirculated condition, values can range from a few cents above face value to several dollars depending on quality. High-grade examples with full details and strong luster are the most desirable. Error coins can be worth anywhere from a few dollars to much more, depending on the type and severity of the error. For beginners, the 1989p dime is a great coin to start with. It's easy to find, inexpensive, and part of an important long-running series. Many collectors enjoy building complete Roosevelt dime sets by date and mint mark, and modern coins like this one help complete those collections. Coin roll hunting is another popular way to search for interesting 1989p dimes. By searching rolls of dimes from banks, collectors can look for uncirculated examples, errors, and varieties. While silver dimes won't appear in 1989 rolls, high-quality clad coins and errors can still make the hunt exciting. Storage is also important if you plan to keep a 1989p dime in good condition. Avoid touching the surface with your fingers, as oils can damage the metal over time. Store coins in holders, flips, or albums designed specifically for coin collecting to preserve their condition. The 1989p Roosevelt dime may not be rare, but it represents an important part of modern American coinage. It reflects the everyday money used by millions of people and the massive scale of U.S. mint production. Coins like this tell the story of commerce, history, and design in a way few other objects can. As time passes, fewer high-quality examples remain in circulation. Many coins become worn, damaged, or lost, making well-preserved pieces more desirable to collectors. That's why even common coins can become interesting over time, especially when saved in excellent condition. Coin number for the 1 dime coin from the United States dated 1987 with the D mint mark is one of those everyday coins that most people overlook, yet it holds an interesting place in American coin history. At first glance, the 1987 D Roosevelt dime looks like any other modern dime you might find in your pocket change. But when you take a closer look, you begin to see why collectors still search for this coin today and why understanding its background, composition, minting details, and potential value is important for anyone interested in U.S. coins. The Roosevelt dime was first introduced in 1946, shortly after the death of President Franklin D. Roosevelt. Roosevelt was honored on the dime because of his strong connection to the March of Dimes campaign, which helped fund research to combat polio. By the time the 1987 dime was produced, the Roosevelt design had already been in circulation for over 40 years, making it one of the most familiar coin designs in American history. The obverse of the 1987 D dime features a left-facing portrait of Franklin D. Roosevelt. His hair, facial features, and expression are simple yet dignified, reflecting the clean and modern style of mid-20th century U.S. coinage. Along the left edge of the coin is the word Liberty, while the phrase "In God We Trust" appears just below Roosevelt's chin. The date, 1987, is located to the right of the portrait, making it easy to identify the year of minting. Just above the date, you will notice a small letter D, which indicates that this dime was minted at the Denver Mint. The Denver Mint has been producing coins since 1906 and is one of the most important minting facilities in the United States. Coins with a D mint mark were produced in large quantities, and the 1987 D dime is no exception. On the reverse side of the 1987 D Roosevelt dime, you'll find a torch in the center, symbolizing liberty. The torch is flanked by an olive branch on one side, representing peace, and an oak branch on the other side, representing strength and independence. Around the edges of the reverse are the inscriptions United States of America and 1 dime, clearly stating the country of origin and denomination. The composition of the 1987 D dime is important to understand, especially for collectors who are familiar with older silver dimes. Unlike Roosevelt dimes minted before 1965, which were made of 90% silver, the 1987 D dime is a modern clad coin. It consists of a copper core sandwiched between 2 outer layers of copper-nickel alloy. This change in composition was made in 1965 due to rising silver prices, and all Roosevelt dimes after that year follow the same clad formula. In terms of physical specifications, the 1987 D dime weighs approximately 2.27 grams and has a diameter of 17.91 millimeters. The reeded edge helps prevent counterfeiting and also gives the coin a distinct feel when handled. These specifications are standard for modern U.S. dimes and make the coin easy to recognize. One of the most common questions people ask is whether a 1987 D dime is worth more than face value. In most cases, a circulated 1987 D dime is only worth its face value of 10 cents. Because millions of these coins were produced and many are still in circulation today, they are not considered rare in worn condition. However, that does not mean the coin has no collector value at all. The value of a 1987 D dime can increase depending on its condition. Coins that are found in uncirculated condition, meaning they show no signs of wear and retain their original mint luster, can be worth more than face value. Collectors often look for examples graded MS-65 or higher by professional grading services. In these higher grades, a 1987 D dime can sell for several dollars, especially if it has strong eye appeal. Another factor that can make a 1987 D dime more valuable is the presence of mint errors or varieties. Although major errors are rare, they do exist. Examples include off-center strikes, double strikes, clipped planchets, or weak strikes. A double die error, where parts of the design appear doubled, can significantly increase the coin's value if it is genuine and clearly visible. Error coins are highly collectible because they are unique and were not intended to enter circulation. Collectors also pay attention to proof-like surfaces and unusually strong strikes on circulation coins. While proof coins were not made at the Denver Mint, some 1987 D dimes may show sharper details due to fresh dies. These coins are more desirable than average examples and can command a premium. The mintage of the 1987 D-dime was quite high, with hundreds of millions produced for circulation. This high mintage is one reason why the coin is still commonly found today. However, despite its abundance, the 1987 D-dime plays an important role in date and mint mark sets. Many collectors aim to complete full Roosevelt dime collections, and every year and mint mark is needed to finish a complete set. For beginner collectors, the 1987 D-dime is a great coin to start with. It is affordable, easy to find, and helps new collectors learn how to evaluate condition and strike quality. Searching through rolls of dimes from banks is a popular hobby, and while you may not find rare silver coins from this year, you can still find high-grade examples suitable for albums. The historical context of 1987 also adds interest to this dime. During the late 1980s, the United States was experiencing economic growth, technological advancement, and cultural change. Coins minted during this time reflect a period of stability in U.S. coin design before the major redesigns and commemorative programs that would follow in later decades. Proper storage is important if you decide to keep a 1987 D-dime for your collection. Coins should be stored in a cool, dry environment away from moisture and direct sunlight. Using coin holders, flips, or albums can help protect the surface from scratches and environmental damage. Avoid cleaning the coin, as cleaning can reduce its value and damage the original surface. When it comes to selling a 1987 D-dime, condition is everything. Circulated examples are usually not worth selling individually, but uncirculated coins or error coins can be sold through online marketplaces, coin shops, or coin shows. Always compare recent sales and consider having valuable examples authenticated. In summary, the 1987 D Roosevelt dime may seem like an ordinary coin, but it carries historical significance, educational value, and collectible potential. While most examples are only worth face value, uncirculated pieces and error varieties can be worth much more. For collectors, coin roll hunters, and anyone interested in U.S. numismatics, the 1987 D-dime is a reminder that even common coins can tell a fascinating story. Coin number 5. Stop what you're doing and take a close look at your spare change, because a simple one-dime coin from the United States might be more interesting than you ever imagined. Today we're talking about the 1984 P Roosevelt dime, a coin that many people overlook every single day. It may seem ordinary at first glance, but this dime carries history, hidden details, minting stories, and value factors that make it worth knowing about, especially if you collect coins or enjoy checking pocket change for surprises. The 1984 P dime was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, which is why it carries the small P mint mark. This was a period when U.S. coin production was focused on efficiency, durability, and massive circulation. Millions upon millions of these dimes were released into everyday use, meaning they passed through countless hands, cash registers, vending machines, and wallets across America. Because of that, many examples show wear, but some survive in surprisingly sharp condition. The design of the 1984 dime features President Franklin D. Roosevelt on the obverse. Roosevelt has appeared on the dime since 1946, chosen to honor his leadership during the Great Depression and World War II, and his support for the March of Dimes campaign. The portrait shows Roosevelt facing left, with strong facial detail and a calm, dignified expression. The word liberty runs along the left edge, while "In God We Trust" appears just in front of Roosevelt's face. The date 1984 sits to the right, with the P mint mark just above it, confirming its Philadelphia origin. On the reverse side, the torch stands tall in the center, symbolizing liberty. An olive branch rests on the left, representing peace, and an oak branch appears on the right, symbolizing strength and independence. Around the edges are the words, United States of America, and one dime, with the motto, E pluribus unum, placed to the left of the torch. This design is clean, balanced, and instantly recognizable, making the Roosevelt dime one of the most familiar coins in American history. The 1984 P dime is composed of a copper-nickel-clad structure. It has an outer layer of 75% copper and 25% nickel bonded to a pure copper core. This composition was introduced in 1965 when the U.S. Mint moved away from silver dimes. While the 1984 dime does not contain silver, its value comes from other factors such as condition, strike quality, and potential minting errors. One of the most important things to understand about the 1984 P dime is its mintage. The Philadelphia Mint produced well over 1 billion dimes that year. This massive number means the coin is very common in circulated condition. If you find one in everyday pocket change, it is usually worth its face value of 10 cents. However, value changes dramatically when condition improves or when unusual characteristics appear. Uncirculated examples of the 1984 P dime are where collectors start to pay attention. Coins that never entered circulation retain their original mint luster, sharp details, and clean surfaces. These are often found in old rolls, coin albums, or forgotten collections. Even though many were produced, truly well-preserved examples are much harder to find today because most were used heavily. Another major factor that affects value is strike quality. Some 1984 P dimes were struck weakly, especially around the torch bands on the reverse and the hair details on Roosevelt's head. Collectors look closely at these areas. A dime with strong, fully defined torch bands and crisp lettering is far more desirable than one with flat or blurry details. Error coins are another exciting area for collectors. While most 1984 P dimes are standard, some left the mint with mistakes. These errors can include off-center strikes, clipped planchets, doubled die details, or misaligned layers. A doubled die occurs when the design is imprinted twice slightly offset, causing noticeable doubling on letters or numbers. Even subtle doubling can add significant interest and value. Off-center strikes are easy to spot because part of the design is missing while a blank crescent appears on one side. The more dramatic the off-center strike, while still showing the date and mint mark, the more collectible the coin becomes. Clipped planchets happen when a piece of the metal strip is improperly cut, resulting in a coin with a curved or straight missing section along the edge. Collectors also examine the edges of 1984 P dimes. The reeded edge should be evenly spaced and consistent. Any irregularities, missing reeds, or unusually smooth sections can point to a minting error. These details are small, but they matter a lot in the world of coin collecting. When it comes to wear, circulated 1984 P dimes often show smoothing on Roosevelt's cheek, jawline, and hair. On the reverse, the torch flame and horizontal bands are usually the first areas to wear down. Lightly worn examples still have visible detail, while heavily worn ones may look flat and dull. Cleaning a coin is something collectors strongly discourage. Even though it may seem tempting to make a dime look shiny, cleaning actually damages the surface and lowers value. Natural wear and original surfaces are far more desirable than an artificially bright appearance. If you find a 1984 P dime that looks unusually shiny but has hairline scratches, it may have been cleaned. Storage also plays a role in preserving value. Coins kept in dry, stable environments tend to age better than those exposed to moisture, heat, or chemicals. If you believe you have a high-quality 1984 P dime, storing it carefully can help protect its condition over time. The historical context of 1984 also adds interest. This was a time of economic change in the United States, with inflation cooling down and everyday coinage playing a major role in daily transactions. The dime was heavily used in public transportation, vending machines, parking meters, and payphones. That heavy usage explains why high-grade survivors are harder to locate today. Many people assume only old coins are valuable, but modern coins like the 1984 P dime prove that age is just one piece of the puzzle. Rarity, condition, and uniqueness matter far more. A common coin in exceptional condition can be worth much more than an old coin that is heavily worn. If you're checking your change, look closely at the date and mint mark. Make sure the P is clear and correctly placed. Examine the lettering for doubling, the edges for abnormalities, and the overall strike quality. Even if the coin turns out to be standard, the process itself helps train your eye and builds knowledge. The 1984 P dime is also popular among collectors completing date and mint mark sets of Roosevelt dimes. Filling every slot in a collection requires finding coins in matching condition, which adds another layer of challenge and enjoyment. Because the 1984p dime is common, collectors often seek the best example possible rather than just any example. Market interest in US coins continues to grow, especially with online platforms making information and trading more accessible. Videos, forums, and collector communities frequently discuss overlooked coins, and the Roosevelt Dime series often comes up in conversations about affordable collecting. While most 1984p dimes won't make anyone rich, the thrill of discovery is what keeps collectors searching. Finding a sharply struck, uncirculated example or a genuine error coin in everyday change is exciting and rewarding. It reminds us that history is still see the 1984p dime may be common, but it represents decades of American. Coin number 6, and we will explore Stop What You're Doing and take a close look at your loose change, because one small coin from the United States could be hiding a much bigger story than its face value suggests. Today we're talking about the 1965 one-dime coin from the United States, also known as the Roosevelt dime, a coin that represents one of the most important turning points in American coin history. Many people hold this coin without realizing why the year 1965 matters so much, what makes some examples more valuable than others, and how this dime fits into the larger story of U.S. currency. The 1965 dime was minted during a historic transition period when the United States officially stopped using silver in most circulating coins. For decades before 1965, dimes were made of 90% silver, which gave them intrinsic value beyond their face value. Rising silver prices in the early 1960s made it expensive for the government to continue producing silver coins, and people began hoarding them. As a result, the Coinage Act of 1965 changed American coins forever. The Roosevelt dime design itself had already been in circulation since 1946. It was created to honor President Franklin D. Roosevelt, who played a key role in founding the March of Dimes, an organization that fought polio, the disease that crippled him. The obverse of the coin features Roosevelt's profile facing left, along with the word liberty, the national motto "In God We Trust," and the date 1965. The reverse shows a torch symbolizing liberty, flanked by olive and oak branches representing peace and strength, with the words United States of America and one dime. What makes the 1965 dime especially interesting is that it marks the first year dimes were made without silver for regular circulation. Instead of 90% silver, the 1965 dime is composed of a copper-nickel clad structure. It has an outer layer of copper-nickel bonded to a pure copper core. This change reduced production costs and ensured coins stayed in circulation rather than being melted down for silver value. Because of this major change, many people still ask whether a 1965 dime is silver. The answer is no for standard circulation coins. Any authentic 1965 dime found in everyday change should be clad, not silver. However, confusion exists because some rare transitional errors and special mint issues can command higher prices, making the coin worth examining closely. The United States Mint produced an enormous number of 1,965 dimes. More than 1 billion were struck, which explains why the coin is still extremely common today. These dimes were produced without mint marks. During the years 1965 through 1967, the mint temporarily removed mint marks to discourage collectors from hoarding coins. So if you see a 1965 dime with no mint mark, that is completely normal. In terms of physical specifications, the 1965 dime weighs 2.27 grams and measures 17.9 millimeters in diameter. Its edge is reeded, and if you look closely at the edge, you'll often see a visible copper stripe in the middle, which is the clearest sign that the coin is clad and not silver. Silver dimes struck before 1965 have a solid silver-gray edge without the copper line. Now let's talk about value, because this is where most people are curious. In average circulated condition, a 1965 dime is usually worth only its face value of 10 cents. Because so many were minted, demand is low for worn examples. However, condition plays a huge role in coin value. A 1965 dime that has never circulated and remains in mint state can be worth more. Uncirculated 1965 dimes with strong details, original luster, and no major scratches can sell for a few dollars, depending on the grade. Coins graded MS-65 or higher by professional grading services may bring higher prices, especially if they have sharp strikes and attractive surfaces. High-grade examples are harder to find because many coins were heavily used in circulation during the late 1960s and 1970s. One of the most exciting aspects of the 1965 dime is error coins. Mint errors can significantly increase value, sometimes dramatically. Errors occur when something goes wrong during the minting process, and because quality control wasn't perfect, some flawed coins escaped into circulation. One well-known error is the off-center strike. This happens when the blank planchet is not properly aligned during striking, causing part of the design to be missing. Depending on how dramatic the off-center strike is, these coins can be worth tens or even hundreds of dollars. Another valuable error is a double die, where parts of the design appear doubled due to a misalignment during the die creation process. Doubling may be visible on the date, letters, or Roosevelt's profile. Genuine double die errors are collectible and can command strong premiums. Clipped planchets are another possibility. These coins are missing a curved section of metal along the edge, caused by improper cutting of the planchet. If authentic, clipped planchet errors from 1965 dimes can be quite collectible. There are also rare cases of wrong planchet errors, where a dime is struck on a planchet intended for another coin. These errors are extremely rare and can be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars, depending on authenticity and condition. Some collectors also look for proof like 1965 dimes. Official proof coins were not sold to collectors in 1965 due to the minting changes, but some coins were struck with unusually sharp details and mirror-like surfaces. These special strike coins are scarce and highly collectible when verified. The historical importance of the 1965 dime cannot be overstated. It represents the end of an era when everyday American coins contained precious metal. After 1965, silver disappeared from circulating dimes, quarters, and half dollars, changing how people viewed money itself. Coins became purely symbolic of value rather than valuable for their metal content. This change also influenced collecting habits. Many people began saving pre-1965 silver coins, while later coins like the 1965 dime became everyday currency rather than keepsakes. Today, that makes high-quality examples more interesting to collectors who appreciate the coin's historical role. If you're checking your own coins, start by examining the edge. Look for that copper stripe. Then check the overall condition. Are the details sharp? Is Roosevelt's hair well defined? Is the torch on the reverse clear and detailed? The fewer scratches and marks you see, the better. Using a magnifying glass can help spot errors or unusual features. Weighing the coin with a precise scale can also help identify wrong planchet errors, since the standard weight should be very close to 2.27 grams. Storage is important if you believe you have a valuable example. Avoid cleaning the coin, as cleaning can destroy collector value. Store it in a protective holder and keep it away from moisture and extreme temperatures. The 1965 Roosevelt dime may seem ordinary at first glance, but its story is anything but ordinary. It marks a fundamental shift in United States coinage, reflects economic changes of the 1960s, and offers collectors a wide range of possibilities, from affordable examples to rare and valuable error coins. So the next time you find a 1965 dime in your pocket, don't dismiss it too quickly. While most are worth only face value, some could be worth much more, and every single one carries a piece of American history in its design. Checking your change carefully could turn a simple dime into a fascinating discovery.